All right. Greetings to everyone. How y'all feeling this evening? How y'all feeling this evening? All right. My name is Michaela, and it's my pleasure to welcome you into this sacred space known as Sankofa Video Books and Cafe. I hope y'all got here safely and warm, and y'all are nice and cozy eating your food and drinking your drinks. So happy you guys can make it out tonight. It's a great honor to welcome Mr. Lucas Rivera here. If you were listening to that beautiful music, that was his album called Soy AfroRican. Yes, it was really great, and I was dancing over there in my seat. I'm sure y'all was squirming around too. And he's a dancer also, if y'all don't know, so maybe he'll show us a little bit of that. But we are here also for My AfroRican State of Soul. This book is a beautiful collection of poetry, and to put in the words of Associate Professor of Literature, Dr. Derek Smith, he said, Rivera's poems are a journey through the vital substances of life and language. As his inner world spins onto the pages of this book, they shake with passion and pain. Like an epic black salsa moving across continents, oceans, and generations, Rivera's poems shows us the meaning of spiritual exuberance and resilience. They show us how to feel the dance of life with wisdom and most of all with love. And I would not go into a long bio because I feel like this whole event is going to be talking about who you are and your identity. So I will pass it over to you without further ado, Mr. Lucas Rivera.
Yeah. It's such an honor to be in this beautiful space, this sacred space. Thank you so much, Sankofa, for having me here. Again, Lucas Rivera. I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in the streets of the Bronx and North Philly. I am Afro-Puerto Rican, which basically just means I know that I'm Black, and I embrace my Blackness. And I also know I'm Puerto Rican, and I embrace my Puerto Ricanness. And I live in both of those spaces 200%, not 50-50. So my work, my book is my autobiography. Every single poem in this book, My AfroRican State of Soul, is a story, it is experience of my life and how I grew up that I turned into poetry and song and call and response. A lot of my work is rooted in ancestral music and ancestral structure, meaning that I call on my ancestors and I have a deep understanding of listening and responding to their call as well. After I call them, they call me sometimes to serve. So I'm here serving you all, and hopefully through this process of reading some pieces and having a dialogue, we could get to know each other a little bit better and understand how to move through this space called America a little bit better as well. I don't know it all. My book doesn't know it all, but I've experienced some experiences that I share, some opportunities that allowed me to kind of be where I'm at today, um, and be here and loving life and loving people and loving humanity and seeing a system of change develop right in front of my eyes. So, with no further ado, I'm going to start with this piece called In the Beginning, and it's a piece that I wrote, really just captures my story, who I am, where I stand, um, and some of the trials and tribulations that my family went through before I got to the Bronx. Um, so here we go. I also had some great food, so I'm like about to go to sleep, but I'm not, because I'm here. We're gonna dance, we're gonna move, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna read. We'll chat, we'll do some call and response because we gotta get this going. All right, here we go. In the beginning. In the beginning, at least the beginning of my beginning, although I came in the middle of this story, sitting at the center of two brothers that came before and two that came after, I stand. Pulled by dreams that never came and hope that someday may change our outcome. That's where it all began. And I, for years after, struggled to find who I am. One of five individual spirits curated by one light. a light dimming in a journey of heartbreak and struggle, and I for years wondered where I fit in. Coming to terms as if it was already destined for me, I breathe. Inhale the dilemma at hand, a band with 5 lead singers, an inexperienced manager, no lights, no sound, no stage. Mama, who did the best she could at the edge of fight or flight, and 3 baby daddies with the last one at war with addiction. Never taking responsibility, but convincing Mama he would. And that's where Papa stood. That's where I stand. Exhale in order to find my place in this space, on this stage. This song was already written a long time ago. I stand. Inhale the scent of mango trees, La Isla de Encanto, mi tierra, the land that held my spirit. My feet grounded in the beginning of my dreams, our fears, her escape. We gave her life, she said, but it was her that saved ours. We stood. 5 lead singers of one band, and I the center and beginning of the new verse. Exhale the one note that pivots a narrative told many years ago. Inhale the trauma Mama endured by Papa's addiction, afflicting pain so deep in her composition it made boleros sound like carnaval. Heartbroken and its broken pieces torn and its torn essence crushed, made to dust that she thought was love. And my beginning comes after, the third of 5, the center. And throughout my life, I grappled to center self. I close my eyes and remember the scent of La Isla, as if I was still standing in its yunque, the sound of the coquí, the majestic melody of its indigenous opera. Mama truly felt as if life was giving her a third chance, greeting Papa at the door as he returned from war, soon realizing that war never returned Papa. In the beginning, at least the beginning of my beginning, her third hope. Instead, she endured the pain and suffering of a new man's trauma. It was her that saved us. Mama thought it was the beginning of new dreams brought to light, dreams realized by promises fading in clear sight. She thought this now new man's dream would still stay a little longer, linger and manifest happier days. I remember the last time Papa went away, fleeing it all, she packed her lead singers and took us on tour. One-way trip to the States. She wrote our next song. Thank you. So I'm one of 5, 3 baby daddies. My father is a Vietnam vet. PTSD kind of did him dirty, and he struggled to be a father. You know, grew up with addiction, very abusive to my mother. And as I grew up trying to understand what a father was, I was also trying to figure out how to fix him to be a father, right? And couldn't, and dealt and grappled with that, pull, that constant pull of trying to have a father in our lives. So throughout that, I did what I had to do, grew up in the hood, got in trouble, did a bunch of crazy stuff, and art literally saved my life. And through that process, I began to understand who I am and learn more about my identity and embraced who I was as a Black man living in America, and also understood who I was as a Puerto Rican and the injustices that were happening in Puerto Rico. So this next piece is called Soy I Am. It's part of the album. It's a bomba piece, which is the Afro Puerto Rican music in Puerto Rico. And it's kind of a call and response that I do with a drummer as he drums. We go back and forth, and it's called Soy I Am. Soy la negresa de un pueblo unido, soy el hermano de los olvidados, soy la promesa de los soñadores, soy la negresa de un pueblo santo. Soy like the sun, never dimming its light. Soy like justicia, the prophet of right. Soy la isla that still fights to thrive. Soy el camino, la entrada y el final. Soy el sudor of those who are steadfast on this journey. this struggle, this fight. Soy el papá de los olvidados, soy la promesa de los soñadores, soy la negreza de un pueblo unido, soy la negreza de un pueblo santo. Yo soy, I am. Soy la gotita that exposes American lies. Soy el taíno que jamás turned away from his tribe. Soy el jíbaro that tills the unwanted off this land. Soy noche el día that still strives with beat hands. Soy el machete que libera a su gente. Soy el grito de Lares with all yelling, presente. Soy el coquí who only sings for his pueblo. Soy la bandera, soy el taíno, soy la negreza de un pueblo unido. Thank you. It's so hard to do that in a full tummy. I blame my homie Justin here who took me to roomies. My peeps are here. So yeah, that piece, Soy la negreza de un pueblo unido, means I am the blackness of a united community. Soy el hermano de los olvidados. I am the brother of the forgotten ones. And then, look at my boy. What's up? My people are coming strong. My fam is here. So that piece I wrote in response to a lot of the injustices that were happening in Puerto Rico and that still happen in Puerto Rico. And through that process of writing that piece, I also started thinking about the mass amount of racism that's happening in Puerto Rico because of the colonialism, right? Because of how America basically wants to colonize everything, and European culture wants to say that they're the supreme culture, and that was my response to that when we're united, we're much stronger than the status quo, than the powers to be. So how do we begin a process bringing folks together and marching, yelling, painting, writing, right? What does that look like? This piece is called The Calling, and it's, after George Floyd, I went through I'm a man of faith, so I pray a lot. And after George Floyd and others who literally were murdered, I took a step back because I felt anger boiling up inside of me. And my, I'm an artist, so I express myself through any medium that's in front of me, whether it's dance, painting, producing music, or writing. And I wrote this piece called The Calling. And it goes like this. Hate called again. And although every thought in my soul wanted to let it go to voicemail, my anger, my flaws, my lower nature picked up. It's me, hate. I know. Did you hear the verdict? Yes. I hate this America. I hate this so-called land of the free. I hate when people can't see me. I hate the way American justice incarcerates me, kills me. I hate that I have to feel hate, exhale hate, reflect hate, give you life, time. I hate when you call and remind me of these things. I hate remembering, feeling like we just changed owners, still chained to the American dream, chanting in the fields of false hope. I hate thinking about hate. My blood rises, stress levels push me to the brink of panic. Hold on, love is calling. It's love, I know. Then do you know you are beautiful? A strong, passionate, loving soul, a sweet melody on nights of cold, a love patiently building, crafting homes of love, engineering foundations of solid love. You are the sweet sound of kissing fish. You are uniquely you, a fluorescent brilliance that only exists in the deepest of sea. Only you can exist in the most desolate of spaces. You are tomorrow and the next day gone infinite. You are love. But hate is waiting, waiting. I can't keep hate waiting. Then reflect with me. Let your bright light, your light of love, illuminate the shadows of hate's existence, causing it to dissipate, vanishing in your love's glow. For you are me, and I will forever be you. Hate has no home here. Thank you. You know, when I wrote that piece, I also was reminded of King's quote, right? Where he talks about, I choose love because hate is too much of a burden to carry. And it's hard, folks. It's not easy. It's not easy choosing love all the time. But here we are, right? So I get older and I start moving through space differently and start building spaces I want to be in because I refuse to be in spaces where people don't see me and don't have any respect for me. And that's been hard, right? So I wrote this piece called My Check Didn't Bounce, I Did. And it goes like this. They told me I'm too casual, that I can't present in intellectual spaces, that I can't demand the attention of the elite, that I will not have anything worth saying, that I don't belong in the circle of society, that I can't influence the influencers, that I cannot, will not, be not without their blessing, without their acknowledgement, without their connections, without their ruling, without their acceptance, without their invitation. I shall not speak, I shall not present, I shall not offer an opinion, I shall not be, I shall not be. So I took and turned the other way and walked. I will not bow to the system that doesn't honor me, hold space for me, see me, accept me, vouch for me, believe in me, bless me, set me free. I will not beg to enter where I'm not seen. I will not let their expensive suits and Prada glasses intimidate me. I will not come off my throne to entertain their pettiness. I will not be part of the old boys club. I will not be part of it, I say. I will not come back, nor I will be upset or cry or regret or try again or give in or show a speck of care towards their process, their ignorance, their disunity, their arrogance, their belief, their poor excuse of societal change. They will see me not. Punto. Thank you very much. I want to do a piece called, it's in the album, it's called Sin Clave No Hay Rumba, which basically is the way I wrote it in translation, meaning without our African roots, we have nothing, right? We have nothing. Clave, which is the timekeeper for a lot of Latin rhythms, the rhythmic pattern that creates the structure of the clave, you know, where you hear in salsa, pa, 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 right? Is traced back to the Congo in Africa. In Cuba, they do a flip clave, which is a 3-2, not a 2-3. So this one, we're gonna do a 3-2, which goes ka, 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 ka. So I want you to do the clave while I do this piece in clave no rumba. Does that work? Let me see how rhythmically inclined you are. We're gonna do this together. Let me set the tone. All right. Y'all ready? So it goes. Sing glory no rumba. Sing glory no rumba. Oh yeah. Sing glory no rumba. Sing glory no rumba. Oh yeah. Sing glory no rumba. Sing glory no rumba. Oh yeah. Sing glory no rumba. Sing glory no rumba. Oh yeah. My heart beats like a drum. A rhythm that rises like the sun. A percussive sound first found in the womb of my mind. In the womb of my mind. This rhythm is a calling by the ancestors, a calling through a rumba that awakens the soul, reminding you of our blackness, mistaken by others of less than. This clave is the foundation of all that came before and all who will come after. Sing clave no rumba, sing clave no rumba, oh yeah, sing clave no rumba. Sing clave no rumba, sing it back. Sing clave no rumba, sing clave no rumba, oh yeah. Sing clave no rumba, sing clave no rumba. This rhythm cannot be ignored. It cannot be sampled. It is the DNA of our soul. The first note we played when we engaged with Mother Earth. The first. Sing clave no rumba, sing clave no rumba, oh yeah. Sing clave no rumba. Glory, glory, rumba. Can you feel the drum pulsating inside our minds, running through the sangre in our veins? Let's create space and engage, navigating the dance floor with open heart, mind clear, arms out in full embrace, responding to the musicality, the richness of our cultura, the roots of our identidad, the sound we all sang when they took us from our land, when they took us from our land. Now that we're all here, unidad, cultura, one circle, one sphere, creating a new sound, driving house kicks so no one sits down. This is our sound, down and now. Sing clave no rumba, sing clave no rumba, sing clave no rumba, sing clave no rumba, oh yeah. Thank you. That felt good, right? Bringing Mama Africa to the stage. Yes. All right. I'm going to do another piece called Sipping Black Beauty. And this was a research piece that I did. There's this tea called Black Beauty, and it's an ancient tea from the Chinese dynasties, long, right, time ago. And I wrote this piece just thinking about my process and understanding what that tea and how that tea created wars and how we're still in the space of war, right? So here it is, Sipping Black Beauty. I had you on a cold Friday night, my shoulders sore from a long day of carrying my skin. I close my eyes, begin with a healing prayer. I was greeted by your black beauty, elated by your scent, ancient and wild, 1,000 years of cultivated aromatic exquisiteness, which only springtime can make manifest. The astringency of your body caresses the inside of my mouth. A tea of 1,000 years, your properties bring me healing. Like prayers recited by tribes when we were one land, one people. I close my eyes again and begin to sip you. My lips feel you first, greeted by the warmth of your tenderness. I'm reminded why dynasties went to war for you, protecting the deep roots you dug into sacred land. Not one man alone can conquer the richness of your existence. Yet here we are, still at war by the root cause of the color of your skin, my skin, our skin. You brought me ease, unapologetically black and sweet. You brought me ease, as if you felt my bones crying out for your healing. My pain simmers, The taste of you after a long day, the days only our skin can remember, since the rest of us is still trying to get up and stand. March, unite. You brought me ease and reminded me of the root cause of it all, and reminded me how we turn to the purity of your black beauty again and again for healing. Thank you. AfroRican Soul, get it on Sankofa. Thank you all. This was sweet. This was great. I love being here in the East Coast. I grew up in Philly. I'm in LA now. I still have a lot of family here. We're gonna open up the floor for some Q&A. Ask away. I'm an open book. So, shoot. There's a question over here.
Hi, Lucas.
Hey.
So I'm just gonna open with the big question, like why this book and why now? I know you talked a little bit about George Floyd as a motivation for one of the pieces, but like how long have you been thinking about this project and why did you want to bring it forth the way that you did?
I wrote, some of these pieces are about 20 years old. The book took about 2 years to finish and to really come up with promoting it, getting a publisher and all that stuff. But it came out when it came out. The reason why I feel so connected to this idea of pushing it out to all my spaces that I know I belong, is because I feel that the way I grew up, right, being told I was less than, there's a poem in the book, and I was talking to Jordan about it in our interview. It's called A 90s Crime. I was 13 years old when I was thrown in a jail cell because of the color of my skin. 13 years old. What do you tell a 13-year-old about the law after he literally experienced the law smack him, beat him, throw him in a jail cell because of the color of his skin, right? So my trajectory around that time was going south pretty quick. And I feel that because of art, because of these mediums of expression, and because of understanding who I was as a Puerto Rican as well, right? It led to creating pieces that took this pain of this 13-year-old and turned it into something else. And I just want to share that with everyone, right? How can we begin a process of healing knowing that the worst thing you could do to a person that does you wrong is love them, because it creates a darkness in them, not in you. You are light, right? We are light, right? When people are in jail, the worst you could do to a person is put them in solitary confinement, right? Absent of light, right? Darkness. It's the worst you can do. Here, there's so much injustice. So the way I look at justice is, how do I love the brother that hates me to the point where he understands himself, that his conscience begins to dig in deeper into his darkness, or he sees the light, right? So yeah, I think, in a nutshell, that's, I went like this, but, and like this, pero. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
How are you?
Good. So I know that a lot of the purpose of the creation of this work is to help heal others and help others through their healing process and their integrating process. How does the act of creating this work and performing it help heal you?
This was cheaper than a psychiatrist, right? I didn't go to therapy. I wrote a book. I painted. I created an album, right? I'm healing every day. Every day I'm healing. And it brings me joy to be in spaces where I'm seen. So that's why I do these talks. Not because, I have a job. This is not my job, you know? And I do this because I love sharing space with other folks that look like me, that could vibe and create a dialogue that allows us to step into a future that our children could bear, right? That we give them a fighting chance, right? So that's my healing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Don't be shy. You don't get it all. Was there a question in the back?
I got one. Do you have a favorite poem in the book?
A favorite poem? I was just, yes. I get favorite poems every other month. I'm like, oh, this is my favorite now. So my favorite now is called I Saw You Seeing Me. And I'll tell you why after I read it real quick. It's a short one. And it goes like this. I saw her as I approached my final destination. We were both walking on the same side of the street. She was about 1,000 steps away, eyes wide shut and arms up, guarding the silver spoon locked away in her purse. Body tense, jaw squeezed, lips contracted over her top teeth, fingers curled back in her palms brushing against her sweat. I saw her disappointment when she realized she couldn't cross in the middle of the block. I smiled tenderly so that she would not be threatened by my beauty. I started to walk slowly so that she could take time to notice my light. At 20 footsteps away, I smiled with my eyes, face, mouth, hoping to disarm her loaded prejudice and reignite the light she once walked in. That's my favorite piece, because it reminds me, thank you, it reminded me how much we can do to disarm others. And this was a true story. I had a suit on. I was walking in downtown in LA, and this lady was walking towards me. And the minute she saw me, she gripped her purse and tried to figure out how to cross the street. If you've been to downtown LA, there's construction everywhere. So she couldn't cross in the middle of the street. She was stuck on the same sidewalk I was on. And as I approached her, I was getting upset. And at the same time, I had this thought of, how about I smile with my entire being to see what happens when we approach each other and get closer. But, all kinds of things went through my mind, curse words and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, so that's my favorite piece now. I saw you seeing me. Just checking myself,
But what did happen when you smiled with your entire
So she did her thing, and I felt good with how I addressed it, Nothing happened. I didn't steal her purse. So she was like, man, I had him wrong. So yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you for sharing. Those are very beautiful pieces. I have a question surrounding, I know you've spoken in depth about ancestral work that you've been doing. How do you, in particular, I know in sort of through poetry and other things, but with family, for instance, if they're not on board with ancestral work, how do you navigate that space? I don't know how to explain it.
It's hard. Look, I'll say it this way. probably 75% of my family would not say they're Black. And they're darker than me. And that, it beats you up, like literally, knowing that you come from the same stock, right? And they can't even, they're just racist, flat out, right? And, growing up, I was called negrito, but not in an enduring way, right? Because I call a lot of folks, family and friends, negrito. Hey, negrito, what's up, right? In a loving way. This was straight up racist, like from my aunts, right? Because I was dark, right? And because I had bad hair, right? So how I deal with that now, they're not in my circle. As I pray for them, right? And I love them, but like I said earlier, I now move in spaces where I'm seen, right? And there's a small clique of family, like my immediate brothers, like we all know we're Black. And we hold it down, right? My mom, she, I think, learned English listening to Motown, right? She knows she's Black, right? And she loves it, right? But when we go back home to Puerto Rico, I mean, you talk about America being racist, that's on another level of racism. I mean, you could literally, with a satellite, if you had a color lens, the island is split by color in Puerto Rico. And there are certain places where you look down from a class standpoint, from a societal standpoint, because of the color of your skin. So that's, again, long answer to a.
No, I'm from the continent, and Christianity rules, right? So they don't want to do anything with traditional religions or ancestral religions. So it's like a fight, They look at me like I'm cross-eyed. When I say, yeah, we had ancestors, like ancestors, and like 3 generations ago, they don't even recognize it.
No. And what's crazy is, so, the Puerto Rican African ancestry comes from Yoruba people, right? Like that's even deeper than just saying you have African, ancestry. We have Yoruba ancestry, right? We could call it what it is, and people freak out. They're like, oh, absolutely not, Oh, you're going to hell. You talk that stuff, right? I'm like, yeah. Chango. Anyway, any other questions?
We
Yes.
have one online from Dr. Wyatt. She says, how did your faith help you to spiritually grow past your pain? What did that look like for you? Though healing is ongoing, at what point did you realize your healing had manifested?
So I'm a Baha'i, and I recently became a Baha'i about 10 years ago. In the darkest moment in my life, something happened, and I started to pray to the manifestation, Baha'u'llah, who's the prophet, the new messenger of the Baha'i faith, right? As opposed to Jesus Christ, who I heard throughout my life, growing up in different, Pentecostal churches. And the minute I accepted God and began a relationship with God, I realized that I was lighter, that my pain was no longer my pain. I gave it to God, right? And by giving it to God and beginning that process of healing through prayer, in our faith, we talk about service is prayer. The creating of art is prayer. So I created a whole lot of art because I was praying. And the divine that came through my body to the pages of this book, my artwork or my music, that was God, that wasn't mine. That was my pain, right? Being released and manifested in a different way and channeled in a different way. So I think, again, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy knowing that there are forces at play that continue separating families. It's heartening, it breaks my heart when I see our own brothers just, treating our women the way they're treated. And it pains me, right? But I have the secret sauce, which is prayer, and whenever I'm feeling like really down, I give it to God. Like, you asked for it, here you go. It's no longer mine, right? But I also listen, right? A lot of the work that we have to do when we think about ancestral healing as well is listening, right? It's called call and response for a reason. Not because we're just chatting, bah, 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 bah. We have to listen. We have to listen to our kids who are stripped from the superficial. They're just raw, beautiful light, right? And in that piece when I talked about wanting to bring back that lady's light that she once shined in, we're all born with this beautiful light, right? That then we retreat from as we get older, right? And less wiser. Hopefully that answered your question, Doc.
She said, "Oh, this is good. Very intriguing."
Any other questions? Do we have time?
Can we get an encore? Can we get another phone?
Oh, absolutely, you can get an encore. Let me see. All right, let's read. I want to read The Many Shades of My Ghetto, which I also like. Give me a second. I don't even know what my poems are. Wow, here it goes. Actually, let me sit down. The Many Shades of My Ghetto. At the corner bodega, a 2-inch thick clear plexiglass wall separates us from our humanity. The reflections on that 10-foot wall memorializes the faces of a people just wanting to survive. But you think otherwise, profiling us one transaction at a time, but you and I are the one in the same. The shade of our skin announces our origin, beaten by decades of trying to reclaim the space our ancestors bled to build. Soon after I walk in, your stare frames me at a loss. You make no real connection. I can only see 30 different views of my innocence captured on the screens of your safety blanket. This America has turned my skin into a suspect. Before dialects can begin to offer a small glance into the beauty of my people, you can't even look me in the eye. We never touch, but I can feel your heart rate increasing as I approach the counter. We never met, but I can hear your memory storage sifting through profiles of who I may be to you. You stand as I get closer, wondering if I will be that guy or just by. I can now feel the weight of your fear, turning my sneakers into steel plates that can never lift off the ground. Now here we are, you behind a fort that distorts the view of one another's eyes at hello, and I relentlessly trying to face a smile that comforts you. Maybe today can be the day you see me, the child of a ghetto looking for his purpose, the father of a ghetto hoping his child returns, the brother of a ghetto watching over his siblings, the servant of a ghetto rebuilding the ghetto's perception, a man from a ghetto that shaped his integrity. Thank you. Again, you can buy your copy of my AfroRican Soul at Sankofa Bookstore. Thank you all for listening and being patient with me and sharing this beautiful space. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.